Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. How are you all? Most importantly, can you hear me? You can hear me. Yup. Wonderful. Well, I hope everybody's well. It's been a little while. Good. And I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a different background today. So I've actually placed myself somewhere different. Thank you, Mama Cass. It's courtesy of YouTube. Hope you're well. Hiya, Truth. It's very cool. Feels very warm as well. It's deceiving. Well, I will be waiting just a little while. Is there anything new by anybody? And I do have a guest with me today, but I'll be bringing them on in a little bit. Oh, toasty and cozy. Very nice. Good evening, System Jolter. Yes, my TV is on fire. It is very cozy. If I had a more powerful light, it would the display around the TV will shine up a little bit more, but then I won't be able to see. Well, as you can tell from the stream, we're actually going to be talking about shadow figures this evening. So I've been doing a bit of research the last few weeks and preparing as normal for this evening, plus having a little bit of a break as we all need it for time to time. Hi, Ivan. So it should be a good stream. Yes, we do need marshmallows, Joanne. You're quite right. Hello, daughter. How are you, Kirsty? Sorry, I haven't written you back, hon. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce our guest. You know this person very well. Most of you do anyway. You all enjoy this person very much. And just bear with me. Here is our guest.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, Sarah. Hello there, everybody out there in chat. How are you all? I hope you are all doing well.
Mama Cass, whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Right, I've got a little bit of a delay on your voice. Is anybody else, or is that just me because I'm on the panel?
You shouldn't have a delay. I'm seeing myself as I'm speaking.
Oh, okay. So it's come back into line now. It must be because I was sitting in the backstage.
Possibly. Yeah, no, System Jolter doesn't have a delay. Just a heads up for those of you that are seeing this live. For those of you that are seeing this after, it doesn't really matter so much. Just a bit of piece of information that's happened sort of the last few days. YouTube/Google deleted about 4 million accounts due to using emojis too much. So if you do happen to use them, try and limit them just to a couple, because yeah, I don't want any of you guys losing your channels. So just a little bit of a heads up on that one.
Oh, so it's not the actual person holding the stream that delete the channel, then it's the actual people that put the emojis in the chat.
Yes. And it's not just their YouTube channel they lose, it's their actual Google they lose as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, so just that you're aware of it, guys. It's a bit of a pain, but oh right, okay. Even it was like a little dub movie about a minute ago, but it's ball back in check now. Brilliant. Okay, so you were right. Hi,
Yeah,
Valerie.
I was going to say it was only about a second and a half, 2 seconds. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hi there,
Christine.
hi there, Kirsty. Hi, Truth.
Yeah, Mama Cass, I know that you go to other different places. So the other streams that you go on, hun, if you just let them know as well, because it's not the host that gets penalised. It's everybody. It's all the people that are putting in the emojis.
I'm always putting emojis in the chat, so I better stop that then.
Yeah, I think maybe 1 or 2 is okay. Hello, Rose. How are you, my darling?
Hi, Rose. Hello, Joanne. Jojo. Hello there, Diary of Her Mind.
They are fit there. I know they are, Christine. I know, but you know, it could be a little while before it's fixed, knowing what YouTube's like. That's right. That's where it all came from, Ivan. Yep.
Hi there, Ewan. My good friend from the Netherlands.
Yeah. Hello, Gemma. How are you, my dear? There's lots of you coming this evening. It's nice to see.
I hope Rose doesn't spot me.
Oh, I think Rosa's already spotted you. Because she's put hi. Well, you can just see, you can see her comment for yourself.
I can indeed. Mr. Green Tie. So I'll never live that one down, ever.
No, you won't, unfortunately. Hi, Terry. Hope you're well. Everybody's following everybody this evening. I know that there's a few streams on.
Yeah, there is actually quite a few streams.
There are. Yeah. I try and choose a quiet day and everybody decides to stream on that day. Thank you, Terry. Oh, dear. There's lovely. Lovely bunch of people in today. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show all of you the rundown for this evening, how it's going to go. More or less exactly the same as the last 2 episodes. Oh, okay. Just before I do that, what are yours, Rose? Just sidetrack ever so slightly. You too, Gemma. No worries, Joanne. Oh, by Grumpy. Oh, gold. You'll have to tell me about that one. If you're streaming, and no, I'll probably end up straight late. If you're around tomorrow, Rose, streaming, I'll pop into your chat. Yeah, very true, Mama Cass. Right, get back on topic. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to show you the discussion points that we got for this evening. And then I'll do my little talky bit and show you guys what I'm reading and discuss those points. And then we have something else, which Glenn is actually going to do this evening while I sit back. And it should actually really be a good evening this evening, as always. Looking forward to your part. No comment.
It's a secret.
Okay, so here's the rundown for this evening, guys. So first of all, we've got obviously this evening is to do with shadow figures, i.e. the hooded figure, the hat man, dark shadows, so on and so forth. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is when it was first recorded in history. Then number 2 is what are shadow people? Where do they come from? Appearance and behavior. Number 3 is the Hat Man and other types of shadow figures. Number 4 and number 5, I will be handing it over to you guys in the chat, asking for your experiences and what your thoughts of what shadow figures are. Evening, John. Number 6 is sleep paralysis and shadow figures. And then again, I'll be coming back to you guys in chat with, have any of you experienced sleep paralysis and shadow figures? And as always, number 8 is final thoughts. Hi, Sandy. So we've got some interesting subjects coming up this evening. And when we are breathtaking, when I have done the talkies the last couple of times, any of your comments with your experiences and anything, I will be bringing up on screen so we can read them and, yeah, discuss them as well. Thank you, Christine. That's very nice of you to say. Well, before I do each episode like this evening, I am probably researching for 3 to 4 weeks before each stream, so I put a lot into these. Thank you, Terry. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring some stuff on screen to read to you guys. You should be, the size should come up pretty decent, so you'll be able to read it as well. And don't forget, at any point, if there's something that you want to go back on, you can always check after the stream. And any other ideas that you'd like to see for future shows, that you can always put them down in the comments below, because I'm all up for taking suggestions. So with that, what I'm going to do is to talk about our very first discussion point, when it was first recorded in history. So shadow people have been frightening people for thousands of years, but what are they? Some people believe these humanoid figures are a supernatural spirit or entity that manifests as a dark shadow. The history of shadow people dates back as early as the 1600s CE Common Era. Creepy shadow people stories come from all parts of the world and are eerily similar. The Quran makes mention of pitch black sapient beings created from fire that were not purely spiritual or physical in nature. Their emergence in popular culture can be attributed to some paranormal investigators who've dedicated their life to researching and finding these shadow people. Need to see the screen a little bit. Oh, that's better. Okay, point 2. What are shadow people? Where do they come from? Appearance and behaviour. The most common form a shadow person presents themselves is in the classic shadow being, which is described as dark, inorganic, phantom-like, bipedal figures that look just like a dark black shadow of a figure, but don't seem to quite have full human form or facial or bodily profile. They feel very masculine and oppressive and like something that is beyond human and out of our scope of understanding. Some believe their dark form is used as camouflage, and they take on a rough humanoid form to blend in with us. Others report seeing shadow people with red or green glowing eyes, or even wearing a hat. Like the Hat Man, who often appears in a cape or trench coat and a hat, which can range from a top hat to a fedora or cowboy hat. Appearance. The shadows are usually larger than a normal shadow and notably don't resemble the shadow of the person sighting it. They are often reported moving with quick, jerky movements and quickly disintegrate into walls or mirrors. They range from being mist-like to being completely solid like a regular human. Though this is not true to all shadow figures, some of them may possess eyes. The eyes may vary in color and are classed as having certain traits of behavior based on the color of their eyes. Although this list is still being documented, it is known that the white-eyed shadows are typically faster and more logical. Behavior. They are believed to be evil and aggressive in nature, although a few people consider them to be a form of guardian angel. A shadow person's behavior tends to vary, suggesting they may be as varied as regular people. Some report that when looked at in the chest or eyes, they emit a loud scream that sounds like a screechy static, loud winds, and or creaking wood. They often cause their victims to feel unable to move and stare at them in silence, rarely ever speaking. Sometimes they will even sit on their chests. Many are spotted within hospitals or otherwise near those who are dying. Then we come to the Hat Man. One commonly seen shadow person is known as the Hat Man, who has been reported worldwide with very few variations in overall appearance and behavior. Some researchers say, where shadow figures are concerned, the Hat Man could possibly just be a different entity altogether. The Hat Man is a solid black man, sometimes with red or black eyes, with a wide-rimmed hat, usually reported to either be a Zorro hat or a fedora hat, and a long trench coat or sometimes a cape. Unlike other shadow people, he is genuinely seen as much more physically solid. He is sometimes reported to have a goatee or be clean-shaven. Some reports claim he has no face at all. Those who see the Hat Man report feeling a sense of malevolence coming from him, and he seems to show curiosity towards witnesses. He seems to take great pleasure from the fear of witnesses. Some witnesses have gone as far as to claim him to be the devil. Other types. Other types of shadow people spotted include the hooded monk, black smoke, mist people, shadow animals, peeking shadows, usually child size, red-eyed shadows, generally more malevolent, and crawlies, seen running across skirting boards. Now that's what we have for the shadow people. Now my question's for you and for Glenn. Has anyone experienced that has been mentioned so far? If so, how long for? And what do you think shadow figures are? So I'm going to come back to you, Glenn.
Well, first
Have you
off,
experienced? Yes.
pardon?
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so well, first off, it seems quite strange that it's always a hat man or a shadow man. Even when a shadow person is mentioned, it's always male. You know, I don't ever think I've ever heard any account of a shadow man or a shadow person, you know, in the female form, unless it's to do with like folklore where an incubus, which is obviously a female demonic, is mentioned. So that's, you know, kind of like the first thing. I just thought that was quite strange that it's always in the male form more often than not.
Yeah, I think it is a fascinating subject. It's something I could have sort of put so much information on, but it's just that, you know, within the confines of a live stream, you want it to be a few hours or like 6-7 hours because it's such a diverse subject.
Yeah, you know, it's, you know, there are medical terms associated with people seeing shadow figures too, which is obviously that's something called hypnagogia. Obviously, when the medical profession talk about people seeing shadow figures, you know, there can be certain mental traits, you know, to do with why people see shadow figures, but a lot of it is to do with the eyes and the way the eyes perceive light. So when you look forward, your vision sees forward. You know, you can see, you know, a wide scope that your eyesight picks up on, but you can only ever actually focus on one tiny point of that entire vision. So if you're standing on top of a mountain and you're looking across valleys, fields, lakes, you can see that in your vision as a matter of perspective, but you can only actually focus on, say, like one tree that's in a forest. You can't focus on the trees adjacent to that tree. So as your eyesight pans to your sides, you have what you call your peripheral vision, and the cones are a lot fewer at the side of your peripheral vision, so they let in different elements of light compared to like your main forward vision. And it's within these cones, you know, within your eyes, that they say that shadow figures are seen. So it's always in your peripheral vision at the sides, which is not just in humans but also in animals, is actually a defense mechanism. You know, it's basically, you know, so you could, you know, even though you're looking forward, your eyesight with your peripheral vision can actually see up to 120 degrees behind you. So it's, you know, you can see slightly behind you, even though you're like looking straight forward with your peripheral vision. It's within that peripheral vision that, you know, a lot of people say that they, you know, they see shadow figures. So is it, you know, is it like a breakdown of the way light affects the eyes that people see shadow figures? You know, that's those that when people say, oh, you know, I saw something out of the corner of my eye, I turned to look. Obviously, you turn and you're focusing better, and that shadow figure disappears.
Yeah.
You know, so is that all down to the way that I, you know, perceive sight? But then you get people that will look straight forward and they will just blatantly see, you know, an apparition in the form of a shadow figure, you know, which is obviously more dominant because you're actually focused on it. You know, not only that, shadow figures that, you know, they're not just seen in dark corners, or, you know, they can be seen in daylight too. So it's quite strange, really, you know, the way other people perceive what shadow figures are, or shadow beings are, you know.
It is.
You know.
Well, there's been some interesting comments in the chat. But first of all, just rolling back a little bit, Joanne heard what sounded like, I'll bring this up on screen. After I said human, Joanne heard what sounded like a male voice. Again. It's not the same one as last time, is it, Joanne? I don't know if you managed it. I don't know if you heard that at all, Glenn.
I did not know. I did actually see Joanne write it in chat.
Yeah. Hi, Mary. Hi, Kathy. And hi, everybody watching and that's just coming in. Yeah. That'd be interesting. I have to check back on that.
I'm still going over that last stream you did. I've actually downloaded it now. The one where the male voice kept coming in
was
and
weird.
saying things.
Yeah. We've got here from Miss Monty. I saw a shadow person. I looked at it dead on and it ducked and hid.
Yeah, it's strange as well, isn't it, that a lot of, you know, shadow figures are quite standoffish.
Yeah,
they very seldom interact with the person that sees them, you know, or they, you know, they always seem to be at a distance. They never really want to be, you know, kind of like interfering with the person that's going about the business that, you know, may happen to, you know, set eyes upon one.
Yeah, it's almost as if it's like, you know, I'm watching you, but
yeah,
I don't want you to see me. And it's almost this deer in headlights, isn't it? Scenario.
Yeah.
Like, I've been seen. Quick, duck, hide.
I've in all the years I've been doing the paranormal, I've never seen a shadow figure.
Well, okay.
I've seen what I perceive to be a shadow in the corner of my eye, and I've seen that hundreds and hundreds of times. But, you know, as a, you know, either a solid formed, you know, shadow person, I've never laid eyes upon anything like that.
Well, I think I'll wait till a little bit later to tell them what happened to me.
Okay.
You remember that story I was saying? What was it? A year ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Ivan's asked, what is a skirting board? Ivan, it's the board across along the bottom of the wall. That's the skirting board.
Yeah, they're called different things, like in America or other parts of Europe or wherever.
Yeah.
And in the UK, they're called skirting boards because it skirts the wall as it beats the floor.
The wall. Yeah. Kerry has said, I do not want to see a Crawley.
I've seen Crawleys quite often.
I've not seen a Crawley.
Yeah. They kind of like, you know, maybe the size of maybe 4, 5, 6 inches. Maybe they seem to like you'll be looking at something across the room, and out the corner of your eye you'll see something like scuttle across like the skirting board, and then you turn to look and it just disappears. Sometimes they seem to have like tentacle like appendages that come off them.
No, the only Crawley I happen to see is if it's a creepy Crawley scattering across the floor that I catch out the corner of my eye.
Well, this time of year they're coming in from outside, so you'll probably see a few more.
Terrible. Right, okay. There's one here. I think I've just gone past it. Hang on. Let me go back up again. because there's been some. I think Kerry's got 3 stories to tell, or 3 things to tell. Higher truths that there's something in there. Let me go back up. Why does it go all the way back down in here?
Hi, Kathy.
Right, okay, higher truth. She says, I saw a shadow person. It was black in nature and was hovering over me. No, I've not. It's not been that bad for me.
Well, again, when people say that they see a shadow figure, they're not. They kind of like explain that they're not actually walking, but they seem to glide. But they can like jitter from one place to another extremely fast. But they never seem to be taking steps. They just seem to like, like hover, zoom straight across from one place to another.
It's crazy. Oh, if you can hear the pitter patting, guys, it's Cheeky playing with his teddy bear running back and forth. So I do apologise.
Sure, and Joanne, I have seen,
I have seen your question, Joanne. So I will get to that. There's so many comments. It's crazy. There's one here from Diary of Her Mind, Christine. Oh yes, I experience them quite often amongst other type of beings. I don't consider them. I don't consider all of them to be malevolent. It's you get sort of like the sort of mixed, sort of a mix of, well, some shadow figures that I've seen, well, not me personally, but what people generally say. They're not malevolent. They seem okay. They don't feel as if like they're encroaching on you. But then you hear on the flip side of the coin, and you hear quite bad experiences from people experiencing them.
Yeah, again, the majority of people, seem to say that they're quite standoffish. And tend to keep the distance, as almost again as though they're just watching.
It's crazy. Richard had a couple of instances, but not nasty. That is voices, Richard, not Rich Spirit. Yeah. As they're both in. Let's see, what other ones have we got here? Yeah, Joanne mentioned, it's interesting that lots of people here have had shadow experiences. It is actually. It's very surprising.
Well, it's a common phenomenon, isn't it? People seeing shadow figures. But you've got, obviously you've got to differentiate between people saying they saw a shadow figure, obviously directly in front of them as a figure standing there, and then obviously differentiate between those that say they see shadow figures out the corner of their eyes. Those can never actually really be focused on, because every time you turn to view them, they just disappear. Which I'm actually more inclined to believe that particular sort is actually to do with the eyesight.
Yeah. So I'm just replying to. Right, higher truth with what she was saying. When she was sleeping, I found out that one of my neighbours had committed suicide. He lived above me. When I seen the shadow figure at the time, he took his life. That's really sad. And she's actually just mentioned sort of my shadow. I don't know if it's the same shadow figure. So higher truth, let me know if it is the same one. My shadow figure felt like he was saying goodbye to me. Wow. I bet it's the first time I've heard somebody that mention sort of shadow figures and sort of the same, more or less the same time as somebody passing.
Well, I mean, people do say that relatives, friends, people that they've known well in life, do come to meet them as they pass over. Maybe some people can actually perceive those as, shadow figures, because, obviously they're in spirit form.
Wow. Angela Sacramento Paranormal. She has one that haunts her bathroom and doesn't know why. I know that you stream yours sometimes, Angela. If you looked into if it's something on the land, or if you're nearby on a ley line that might cause that to happen. Interesting. Right, there's one here from Richard. You'll probably be able to answer this one more, Glenn. What about figures captured, observed in a laser grid?
We was having this conversation, weren't we, about
We were.
about a video that you're about to put up. Right. So, which aspect do you want to take it from, Richard?
Take it as from a figures captured or observed in the laser grid.
Right. So, let's try and get this into some kind of like perspective,
but not too much, though.
Right. So, when you fire a laser grid, and let's presume that a spirit is caught or a shadow figure is caught within that laser grid. So for there to be some kind of distortion, that shadow figure or spirit has to have some kind of material to it. Obviously, if light passed straight through a spirit because it has no substance, then the laser dots will just pass straight through and hit the wall. You know, to see something visible that moves through a laser grid, it has to cause some kind of like distortion. So therefore, it is literally, the light is literally bending at slight increments around or through that figure. So, you know, I'm just looking at it from two aspects, like one with a perceived spirit and a shadow figure, which many people seem to say are more solid. So well, if they materialize from, say, like they come from like another dimension or wherever they come from, if they were to materialize in front of a laser grid, then they would have to have more substance to them.
Okay.
Without actually knowing, it's really difficult, you know, because we don't know anything as fact. It's very hard to like determine an answer to that question.
Okay, well, if I extend on that, because Richard has wrote a couple of other things in the chat. Is but shadow figure observed walking in laser grid, and this one sucked the grid light, so it was black in the grid.
Right. So you also have to look at it from the perspective that a shadow itself is the lack of light. So a shadow is made up. So if you're walking in the sunshine and you can see your shadow, that shadow is only cast from a solid figure because of the lack of light that does not pass through like the human body. Yeah. Did you follow me on that? So a shadow is actually a lack of light.
Yeah.
Because we can only see things because of light at various frequencies.
But I think with regards to the laser grids and that, I think Richard, just keep an eye out for a future update. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. By God, is that going to cause some controversy?
Oh, yes. Right. Gemma. Okay, this is going back to with what Higher Truth was saying. She had a similar experience. She saw a black shadow when her grandmother died in hospital. I've never. That's the second one with sort of somebody dying and black shadows. Maybe there's something in that.
Yeah. It's not, it's not unheard of. I've heard that many times.
Mm. Well, you've been around in the paranormal a lot longer than what I have. I'm playing catch up.
Yeah, that's
Hi,
fine.
Lee. Hi, Stephen. Okay, let's see what other comments that we've got here. There's a lot of comments here.
Deep breath. Take your time.
I know. Let me see. Okay, another add-on from Higher Truth Story. She didn't know until the next day that he was gone. The police did a safety call on him because he didn't show up for work. All right, okay. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, Angela's been hearing a man's voice again. Because when she wrote it, she did write a couple of minutes ago, and I said, "What, again?" And she said, "Yes." Okay, one of Kerry's stories. I love Kerry's stories. Oh, I remember a fourth experience. Oh, four. Okay. Sorry, haven't mentioned the three yet, but I have seen a fast-moving shadow live on Angie Bean's channel. Now that was booming scary. Oh, it's it's okay. I know that Roses had shadow figures on her streams. Hello.
Hello.
All right, you're there. Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to catch up on chat. There's so many.
I know.
Sorry.
I've got showing the chat up from StreamYard, so I can sort of bring the stuff up on channel and then I've got the pop out chat from YouTube, so it's like I'm looking at two chats.
So
yeah,
sorry, Zara. What did you say?
Kerry saw a fast moving shadow on Angie Beans.
Oh, right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I know that there's been shadow figures seen on Roses. Even we've seen something that could be, but could also be pixelation.
Yeah, you see, this is it. Again, shadow figures in a solid form, are they like solid matter? Another thing that a lot of people say is that when they see a shadow figure at night and it's pitch black, the shadow figure actually looks darker than that black. The blackness of a shadow figure stands off from like the surrounding darkness.
It's strange, but it's like it's it's like you think black, there can't be anything darker than black.
No,
but then there's that black.
Yeah, that's the type of that's the type of black that many shadow figures that are seen in dark areas take the form of, that really vivid, if you can say black is vivid, but it has to be vivid to stand off from the rest of the darkness.
Definitely. Diary of her mind's just going to pick up her kiddo, but she'll be listening. So thank you for being in the chat, Christine. It's gonna might take me a while. But Richard just made me laugh. I need a secretary from it to help. I need two pairs of eyes. So as you put in your experiences and your thoughts in, I am getting to them, guys. It's just going through them and discussing them. But there is so many to go through this evening. I'm actually really surprised. I wasn't expecting this many people to have so many experiences. It's actually quite surprising. Richard Voices from Beyond. I saw my first one as a tall Victorian type gentleman. The second was in a laser grid. That's cool. That is
very
cool.
interesting.
Yeah. Let's see what we got. What else we got in here?
Well, Richard, was that seen as a figure, or was that actually seen as like the light of the laser torch, you know, being manipulated? Was it, you know, was it phasing, or was it, you know, was it a solid figure?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out. Okay, E1. I've seen a few shapes, not nice for sure, very negative. Usually I see them when I have been working with something human, like a shadow creature is saying, back off, this one is mine. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, it's like even with reading what people, he's just also added there. Also, one thing I noticed with shadows is that they are often spotted by multiple people. In my opinion, is a genuine sign of a haunting. And Richards added a walking figure in the grid that was solid, black in the grid and walking. It's like it's like a mixture.
Yeah.
It really is. Right, Angela's has seen them crawling on ceilings, crawling on the walls, and trying to blend in with trees. I suppose, yeah, if you've got something moving like a tree, it's something like that is going to be able to blend in quite easily. I would think, because
they are seen to be quite evasive anyway, you know, as again, you know, they are very standoffish.
That'd be a good place to hide, actually, I think. Right. Okay. A question from Joanne. Has there ever been an instance when a shadow person has been seen by more than one person at the same time? I've not experienced something like that. But mind you, I tend to do stuff more on my own than with a group. With the rest of NMPI, is that ever happened, Glenn?
No.
You
know, I have seen something in my kitchen, in the house that I moved from.
Haven't you, Jeff?
There was 7 of us that saw that all at the same time. We all gasped, "Wow, look at that!" But you know, it's hard to say if it was a shadow. It more or less looked like some type of portal, like he was looking into something. So I wouldn't say that was a shadow. But as for like, you know, a shadow figure, no. You know, if I have, I've always put it down to, you know, the reflection of light, or you know.
That's crazy. I lost some of the comments because it scrolled back down to the bottom. Christine, Diary of Her Mind, her daughter and her has seen a shadow person at the same time more than once, not just shadow people, many types as well. All right, okay. Well, that's good. It's good to know that it does happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some very interesting comments.
I know, and it's like it's from everybody talking and looking at the timestamps. I'm looking on the StreamYard chat so I can bring the stuff up. I'm about 20 minutes behind. But you know, some of the comment is just I should actually be able to get quite quickly back up to what people are putting now. Kerry said her first one is her partner Lou. He saw a shadow person on the way back from work. He was on his bike and glanced down a side road. There was a black shadow of a child with glowing eyes staring at him.
Yeah.
Creeper.
That is creepy. Wow. Miss Monty was saying the site manager sees them at work when he opens up. Oh, right. Kerry's other half is actually sitting, listening, watching the stream. So, hi, Kerry's other half. You're YouTube famous now.
Kerry, that's what those shadow figures are. It's your fella sneaking in from the pub. It's like he flashes past the doorway and you turn to look and he's gone.
Ugh.
Because he's sneaking upstairs.
It is.
Making out he's been up there all night.
Totally. Okay, there's another one from Iran. Well, there has been this one time it just passed over the wall. It wasn't very clear, but that was the only one that didn't seem negative or positive. Sort of. Yeah. Okay. It's definitely mixed, sort of. It's definitely a mix between sort of the negative, the positive, and the ones that it's like, thank you, even residual, felt residual.
People should say if they saw it out the corner of their eye, or whether it was an actual, full frontal shadow figure.
It's another one from Christine. One of the shadow figures she saw or she experienced felt familiar, and it claimed to be her uncle.
Some people do say some people do say that shadow figures feel as though they've got like a familiarity towards them.
Yeah. Okay, one from Mary. I've seen many shadow people spirits, other types in hospital. Everyone says, why can't you sleep there? I said, because they don't stop talking to me, and see a lot of them, so you wouldn't be able to sleep.
Is that like a spirit, a ghost, Mary, or is that is it a shadow figure? Obviously, the two are distinguishable.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Pugs. And all of you, those of you that are watching in the background.
Okay, you see both. Right. Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, now carry on from Kerry's story. She was so spooked out, she panicked every time he biked home after that. Even now, I passed that spot he once pointed out just in case it's there. I would actually, if I saw something like that in a spot and it was an area that I used to walk past quite often, I would be very jittery.
Yeah. I suppose they're actually quite frightening, if you were to experience one for the first time, or even if you experience something like that many times, because it's that shock of actually seeing something there that your mind perceives that shouldn't be real. And also, just coming back to something that Mary Neal just put in the chat, shadow does not talk. Well, that is actually the norm for shadow figures. It's always mainly perceived that shadow figures don't say anything. They just generally watch, or as though they're just taking notice of what you're doing, as though they're just watching you. They're not very interactive, shadow figures. And I've seen where people have said that if they inadvertently were approaching that shadow figure, obviously they're not going to walk towards it unless they're very brave. If they're just inadvertently walking in that direction and they look up and see a shadow figure, the shadow figure will back off because it kind of like doesn't want any interaction. It just rather just be there watching you.
Yeah, it's just like one of the just like an observer, just watching what you're doing.
And again, that's a difference as well. You see, there's a difference between what people perceive the hat man to be and what a shadow figure is. It's kind of like a shadow figure is like more of a spectre, more of like a spook or a ghost or a spirit type thing, whereas the hat man is kind of like perceived to be of like some high intelligence, as though they're from like kind of like they're like I don't know if you can put it in the kind of like where interesting things happen or interesting events occur, you know. So if there is like, say, like a major thing that occurs in society, that is when the hat man is normally seen. They're like observers of things that happen in history, of like events that occur, whereas shadow figures, on the other hand, they kind of, you know, like more as though they're like spirits or ghosts, or, you know, or maybe even like malevolent sort of thing.
Here's a good one from Stephen, actually. How do you account for one person having two shadows?
Multiple light sources.
There's a quick answer for that one.
That's why, you know, they faked the moon landings, and they was using studio lighting.
Okay, we got a bit of an add-on from Kerry's. The same night he saw the child, he went further towards home and was physically forced to swerve as if somebody was in control of the handlebars. Oh yeah, I see you answered that. Two light sources. Oh wow, that's crazy, Kerry. Right, let's see. Don't go back down to the bottom. Right, I think I'm almost actually right near the chat now. Yes. Lovely. Sandy Wolf. Hang on, there was that one there. Where is it? Where's that one comment gone? There we go. There it is. I've seen what I perceived as a shadow cat low to the floor, about the same size. Do you think it was an animal? They do say that you can have shadow animals, or it could have been a crawler. One never knows.
I've seen crawlers quite a few times.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Shall I tell them what happened to me?
Go on then.
Oh, I'll tell him what happened to me.
If
right.
you must.
If I must. Well, it's on subject. I was actually renovating here at the time. It was about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago, something like that. So my actual living area was a bit of a mess, and this chair was sort of in the middle of the room with a load of clothes piled on top. So it must have been maybe about, with a pile of clothes, maybe up to where the top of my head is. And my bed would be directly opposite to where I'm actually looking at the moment. And I woke up, I think it was around 3-ish. It was early hours in the morning anyway. And I just happened to look in the general direction of where my chair was, and it was black. And I thought that I actually saw like a figure standing sort of behind my chair with a hat on. Whether it was trickery of the light because of the way that my clothes were, or where I was half asleep, half awake. I don't know. But I turned around and says, if that is in fact something, why don't you just bleep, 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 bleep? Turned over, put the duvet cover over my head and went back to sleep.
Wow, so brave, Sarah.
I was so brave. Yeah. So that's my story. That's my story.
So it was from your peripheral vision you saw it then?
Yeah, I did. Okay, bear with me 1 minute, Kerry, and try again. I'm just gonna put you blue so you can put the link in for you. Hold on. Right, Kerry, you should be able to put the link in now.
What's that link for?
It is for trying to share something. Let me go and have a look. Oh, she sent me something in Hangouts as well. Okay.
Hi there, Rick. Purple Hobbit. How are you, my friend?
There we go. Wonderful. Now, if I put that, will that actually stay? Will that actually stay? Yay. Cool. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Kerry. It's at 26 minutes. Oh, I think it's got to be Angie's stream. Hi, Chili. I'm good, thank you. Glad you can make it. But there's some great stories coming up. Some real good experiences.
There are.
Yeah.
It's,
it is Angie's stream.
Seems shadow figures are more common than I first thought.
Yeah. Or could it be that it's something that's not really spoken about because you don't want to be made out as if you're a little bit cuckoo?
Maybe. But then again, I think if somebody's seen something that was just obvious, they would want to, tell a friend or tell somebody, family member or anybody really.
Well, here's a question for you in chat, actually. For those of you that have had experiences, did you actually tell anyone about them? And if you did, what was the reaction? And Joanne's thinking that it could be that it's a shadow person, could be something from another dimension, or maybe future selves. Well, that's an interesting idea, actually. Future self.
Yeah, I'll come on to that a little bit later on about another dimension.
Richard, people already know I'm cuckoo, so I just blurt it out. Oh dear. Chili says no. She doesn't want to think I'm crazy. Joanne's mind is wandering. Yes, we know Joanne. Yeah, that's a really good point, Mary. I'm actually going to put that one up on screen. Oh, no, wrong one. Hang on. There we go. I think it's not spoken about. I mean, you freeze at first, and at first you don't tell anyone, for they might send the white coats after you. It's true. It is true, though. It is true. I agree. I like what Bruce has said as well. That's actually really interesting. What I have found from dead experiences, this world is like a movie. Each moment, a new event, a different time, good time, bad time, both exist here and in the yin and the yang. Yeah, that's very true, Bruce. I'll agree with you on that one. Oh, God. Have you seen Ivan's comment, by the way, Glenn?
Who's he ones?
Yeah. And I can hear myself, by the way.
Oh, right. Sorry. Let me just get the headphones.
Hi, Spring. Okay, I was just seeing your comment there, Kathy. I've seen a few and never told anyone because they already think I'm crazy because of the things I have said about the paranormal. Yeah. I suppose one could actually be one of the downfalls of being in the paranormal is because people look at you and as if like to say, are you all there? I can actually believe that. Glenn, you're on mute, by the way. Can there be shadows in human form? I would say possibly, Chris. Sure, if you've got like like the Hat Man, the monk, they're like human forms of shadow figures.
Yeah, there are many sightings of shadow figures that take human forms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people say that it's a covering to cover up something more malevolent, or maybe something that we wouldn't recognize.
Mm-hmm. And Mary took her a lot of years before she told anybody about me. They think I'm crazy, but hers started at the age of 5. Oh, wow. Just trying to... Right, if I missed a question, hang on a minute.
Hello there, Mystery After Death. I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you are well, Spring.
It's spring. I'm doing well, by the way, Spring. I hope you're well.
I'm actually feeding a black shadow figure right now.
All right, okay. Sandy, I can't... Was it that you asked a question, hun? Because she's saying thank you for a question, but I don't see it. Okay, we've got Kerry's second story here. It's very strange because not everybody's comment is actually showing up on the StreamYard chat. It's really strange.
Are you on top chat or are you on live chat?
I'm on the StreamYard automatically does it on live chat.
Live chat. Right, okay.
And on
I
the other
just
one,
thought I'd ask.
I'm on live chat. Yeah, no, already. Here it is. Found it, Sandy. There we go. Shadow figures are darker than dark. Some people think all shadow figures are evil. I don't. I also believe some were human and some straight demons, never alive. Very good subject you picked. Well, thank you for the last bit on that, Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy, we was just mentioning that shadow figures are actually they actually stand out against the blackness of the night, or the blackness of a room. They are much more a vivid black. Actually, you can actually see their outline against, even though they're black, you can see their outline against the blackness of a room or an area.
Okay, Kerry's. Where's her other story? Right, make sure I find it on here. Right, there's that bit. Okay, here's the second.
Joanne, I think it's more about where they wear hats. It's normally the hat man that wears the hat, and it's more about having a disguise, to cover up maybe facial features or something that is unusual to how we perceive another person to be.
True, I'll agree with that one. Right, and Kerry's next story. She used to work in healthcare, which required her to literally read medical records to code any significant events. This one time, I'm shook to read a doctor's review on a patient. Okay. Now I'm intrigued. Where's the next bit? Okay. I said they would be sleeping in the middle of the night, be frightened out of their wits as they kept having a tall, dark figure with a wide-brimmed hat appear in the room. Okay, here's the next bit.
In that situation, they could be like an observer of how death is with humans if they're not human.
I never mentioned it to anyone at the practice as the doctor had dismissed the vision of the shadow as a delusional symptom. Okay. That I can actually.
Yeah, is it classed as narcolepsy? Is it narcolepsy?
No, narcolepsy is when you fall asleep.
Right, okay. So it's something similar to that. That's actually what they diagnose as people. A certain person has like a kind of like mental trait where the serotonin buildup isn't as much, or maybe they have like a lack of REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, where the body recovers more when you go through that period of sleep. So you have like a rapid eye movement. If that is broken, then people can awaken to certain things we'll come on to very shortly.
Yes, that we will. There's question here from Ivan. Now the question is, do we see this blackness with our actual eyes, or do we see it with something we can't fully comprehend?
Some very interesting comments there from Bruce. Seems like he's been doing quite a bit of research into his experiences.
Egyptian, let me go up to the other one. Shadow figures, I would say, is soul. Zoe on our soul in the body. Don't quite understand that one, Bruce. Egyptian pictures of them holding a pine cone show it me they created soul conscious from consciousness. That is what I found what the agents are.
Yeah, agents being the Hat Man.
Oh, right, okay. Gotcha.
Interesting, Bruce. Very interesting.
Definitely. I'm just still amazed with the amount of experiences. I really am. I thought there might have only been 2, maybe 3, most.
Yeah.
Okay, Bruce. Got ya.
Yeah, I saw your comment, Donald Brent. We'll come on to that shortly.
Well, I think what we might do is just have a couple of minutes. Okay, hang on a minute then, Joanne.
Thanks, Pugs.
Yeah, okay. Like, does whatever they are made. Right. Yeah, it is. Like, does whatever they are made up from make them look darker than the dark?
Possibly.
Quite possible.
Obviously, light is a frequency. So, you know, if wherever they come from, you know, if they're molecules that make them up are closer together, and they can phase from maybe one dimension to another, then the color would be a deeper black, because it would be running at a high frequency, so the molecules will be closer together. Obviously, if you take black and you start to disperse it, it becomes grey. You know, it's more filtered, it's more
True.
You know, it disperses more, as a shadow does. You know, you can have like a dark shadow that's cast by the sun, or you can have like a shadow that looks, you know, grey. And again, a shadow is actually caused. There's no colour to a shadow. Shadow is actually caused entirely by the lack of light. So whatever these, you know, if you can see a shadow figure in the pitch black, then obviously they have actually got substance to them, because they're not you know, obviously you can see them as a darker black, so they're not, you know, made up of, you know, of light, so to speak. We can only see each other and everything around us because light falls on that object.
True. I just want to say, I've mentioned it in the chat, just to say goodbye to Richard, Voices from Beyond, and as he's going, because he's got work tomorrow. Thank you for coming, Richard. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Cheers, pal. Thanks for coming.
You've just noticed Katie watching. Yes, Katie's there. There was a comment Chili did. Okay, but I never witnessed a figure, just a black ball, and it flew across into my black curtain. It was all over my dog's bed. So would that be like, it almost sounds as if like it was, what sort of size was the ball? Was the ball, Chili? That'd be interesting. And Mary's just put here, it's almost like they are solid. They are deeper black. They stand out. I pointed one out in a video for Abandoned Boys, sent it to him. So now he wants me to look all over his. Oh, Mary, you put your foot in it there, hun.
Got your work cut out there, Mira.
Karen, you take care, hun. Thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate it.
Has anybody ever had any interaction with any of these shadow figures they see?
That's true. Oh, right. So about that, okay. So she says it was about that size, about how I have my hands. That's quite big. Oh, Kerry, you're showing you're intelligent there. Glenn, you read my mind exactly. Light is just a frequency shift. We all think and are taught that light travels. It's a frequency that can slow down or speed up through resistance in the ethereal energy. Well, girl, you've been doing your reading up, haven't you, Kerry? Nice. And quite right as well. You still there, Glenn?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm still catching up on what people are saying. It's just amazing.
Oh, right.
Really.
Ah, gotcha.
Kerry needs to take a jelly bean from the jar. She's been very clever tonight.
Yes, she is. She's been very clever. Well, Kerry's been listening to you for like 4 years, so it doesn't really surprise me.
She must be taking a lot from the information I put in my spirit box videos.
Who, Joanne? Whisperfish, Kerry.
Especially my research in spirit box videos.
Yeah, that's true. Take a cookie from the cookie jar.
That's not if Jojo's not pinched them all.
That's true. Yes, Jojo Light's got quite a sweet tooth. Okay. Chili has said her son did in his room, but a friend of hers said it wasn't trying to harm him. Being he couldn't call for me or move, she said it was the lady that lived here, not meaning to scare him, just checking him out. Oh, right, okay.
Oh, so that refers back to what
Back
when
to
I asked if
to her story. Yeah.
If anybody had actually had any interaction with any of the
Oh,
shadow
wow.
figures.
Okay. Yes, you are greedy, Joanne. And yes, we know, Kerry, you can talk about it for hours. Wow. Right. Well, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a break for a few minutes. It's probably a good idea if you wanted to get a drink as well, Glenn, and anybody else.
Yeah, I'm going to go and get a coffee.
So instead of leaving you with complete blank screen, I am going to be putting a video up for you. But I've got to make sure I put the right one up. No, that's the wrong one.
You're making work for yourself, Mary.
I know, she is, isn't she?
Got your hands full there, girl.
Yeah. Right, hold on. I need to open this back up again.
That's true, Pugs. That's very true. He's on about Kirsty's streams.
Oh, yes. Right. Oh, God. I've got folders open here, there, and everywhere, and stuff here, there, and everywhere. And
yeah, Bruce, there's certainly some type of shift occurring at the moment.
I would agree with that one.
I think the world's run amok at the moment, and I think there's something that just seems to be pulling back the reins, so to speak.
True. Good night, Donald. Thank you for coming and stopping by. And greetings to Denmark.
Oh, he's not very far away from you.
No, just up the road.
Good night, Donald.
Oh, bless you, Spring. Right, what I'm going to do, let me just come back here a minute. There we go. Right, what I'm going to do is take a quick break. Gives you guys a chance to have toilet break or grab yourselves a drink. I can't put my mic on mute, unfortunately. So any noise that you do hear is probably going to be from Cheeky. So until then, enjoy this piece of music and a little bit that I've put together for all of you. So I'll see you in a few minutes. And we're back. Excuse me, I've got a cough. Oh.
Have you got a coffee?
No, I had to cough. Thank you, guys. Oh dear. Well, I hope you like that little bit of an interval. I thought save having a blank screen. Just but throw a little something together for you to watch, so it's not completely boring.
Higher truth.
Excuse me. Oh
They
dear.
look very nice anyway.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Actually, yeah, when I do move, you can see Katie a little bit, can't you?
Yeah. You can. She's spying on you from over the top of the chair.
Oh dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Excuse me. Oh, that wasn't
Chris hated it. He didn't like it.
Well, just be thankful I didn't leave it on for the full 8 minutes and 10 seconds then. Oh dear.
Thank you, Kirsty. I fluffed them just for you.
Charming. Well, I'm just going to put it back on screen once again, so just you guys can actually see what the next section is, because I need to bring it up. So I need to share my screen again, but I don't need that one anymore, so I don't need to confuse myself so much. Right, this next section is I'm going to be keeping very quiet. And it is, okay, let me put it that way, that's better. Sleep paralysis, and also to do with the shadow figures. So what is sleep paralysis? I'm just going to give you a one-line basic of what it says on medical websites. Sleep paralysis is a feeling of being conscious but unable to move. It occurs when a person passes between stages of wakefulness and sleep. Now, there is a correlation between the two, but what I'm actually going to do now is pass over to Mr. Miller, as it's something that he's actually got a lot of experience with. So I'm just going to keep quiet and pass it over to you.
Okay. So some of you know, I actually do suffer with sleep paralysis. Many years ago, I told my doctor about it. He just basically went straight over the top of his head. So from there on in, I did my own research as to what was occurring. And it's basically a crossover between when the body is asleep and when the body is awake. It's that limbo state between the two. So you're basically paralyzed. You cannot move. To get out of that place of being paralyzed, what I learned to do was kind of like wiggle my fingers as best I could, and then my hand, and then my arm, and then it, like the kind of hold that the being paralyzed had on me kind of like dissipated, and then I became fully awake. But in that process of being in that state of limbo, you get a really bad feeling of encroachment, as though there is something in the room with you, something that is very close to you, that feels malevolent, very evil. It is actually an extremely frightening situation to be in. The fear of like dread, it's so much, it is extremely frightening. I've I've had like multiple episodes of sleep paralysis back to back, 3 at the most. So there is actually a name for that. It evades me right now, but there is a medical term for it. But coming on to what other people's experiences are with sleep paralysis, some people say that they see shadow figures, or they see the Hat Man, or some people have even said that they feel as though there is somebody pushing down on their chest. It isn't a very, very nice feeling. Up until around about 3 years ago, I was having some really, really bad episodes of sleep paralysis where I didn't actually go to bed for nearly 12 months. I actually slept in a chair because
I remember.
the feeling of wanting to go, to go to bed and being in that situation is so terrifying in the way it makes you feel. Obviously, some people have lighter episodes where they can kind of like break free from that limbo state, and other people, such as myself, have quite a severe episode of sleep paralysis. Now, my own personal experience is I've never seen any dark figures. I've never seen anything that resembles a Hat Man, but I have had that feeling that there is a presence there with me. Apparently, the medical profession say it's an imbalance of chemicals in the brain that cause that. So do I believe that? I don't know. They can explain it away, and there are studies that have been undertaken in sleep paralysis where there are a lot of assumptions made. But actually suffering from sleep paralysis, it's very difficult to put into words to explain to people how terrifying that experience is. It is sheer dread, or it has been for me, on many, many occasions. It's like I say, I couldn't go to bed for nigh on 12 months because it was so bad. The feeling it gave me of like, just walking past the bedroom door, when it's time for bed, and it's like I can't do it, so I just get the blanket out and I just get down either on the sofa or in the chair. I just couldn't face going to bed. It was so terrifying for me. Now, there are other experiences you can have in sleep paralysis. You can get like a loud ringing noise that is really overbearing. It's almost like a ringing noise that is like a cross between a scream and a screech. It is, and it's really ear piercing. I've only suffered with that on few occasions, but what I have experienced is floating. There is a floating experience that comes, and it's almost as though you're being carried away. So when I had the triple experience back to back, the first time, that was a bad episode, and by wiggling my fingers and trying to fight against this feeling of a presence being there that was encroaching on me, I broke out of that. And the second one was, it just felt like it was moments later when I fell back to sleep again. And on the second one, it was almost as though, my body was just being glided, just lifted, like effortlessly out of the bed. And you're kind of like, you can feel the movement of your body as though like, you're trying to fight from being taken away from your bed. So the third episode I had, which was relatively quick after that one again, they just seemed to happen back to back in the moment. I cannot remember any time passing. It was, sleep paralysis, fall back to sleep, sleep paralysis, fall back to sleep. And then on the third occasion, I actually thought, sod it, I'm just going to let myself go. And from that floating experience, I had the second time, I just let my body go, and it literally felt as though I was being whisked away. And then, I just woke up in the morning.
Crazy.
you know, in the bed. And then from that, that was the time that where I didn't go to bed for 12 months because it terrified me. And I'm a grown man, you know, nothing phases me, but episodes of sleep paralysis are so terrifying. If you have like severe episodes. But again, coming back to these shadow figures, many people say that they see shadow figures or, really demonic type entities or the Hat Man. One experience I did have was of what seemed like a six. I won't go into too much detail about this, but some kind one time, and it was only one time, I actually looked up, and right above me, coming out of the wall, was like a six-limbed creature that had like a snake-like head, but its body resembled like how a worm looks, and the arms it had, which was like pinning me down, they
That sounds
they,
awful.
they look like worms too. Now, I don't know if that was related to a sleep paralysis episode, but I still got that same feeling of dread. So it's horrific. The feeling of sleep paralysis is horrific.
That's
So
terrible.
so I'll be wondering if anybody else has suffered like with sleep paralysis and what your experiences are from that.
Well, Kirsty's asked you. I'll actually bring it up. I'll bring it up on screen as well. There it is. Have you had this disgruntled lady there with you when it's happened?
No,
No.
I've never had that lady there, Kirsty. She's actually followed me from two different locations.
Well, she has. Well, she followed you from the old place to where you are now.
Yeah, that's right.
And from the one before that as well, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, three
Yeah.
places she's followed me from, and always hear it in the bedroom.
Yeah. Maybe she's somebody from the area.
I've no idea. I have actually tried to contact her using a voice recorder to see if I get any EVPs, and I have actually heard the disgruntled voice come up on the EVPs.
Yeah. Well, you've had a few comments. Hang on a minute. Where are we?
Yes, Soul Seeker. The medical profession call them night terrors.
That's it. Sandy went through dread with an attachment. Spring has had that feeling, and it was very scary for her. We've had Kerry but I've had two different personal experiences. Firstly, when I was very young, about 9-ish, was facing the wall and then woke up looking at it fully, but unable to do anything. Very strange. Secondly,
yeah, you definitely know when you've had an episode of sleep paralysis because it feels terrifying.
I think Kerry's still writing. Joanne has had sleep paralysis. She says it's terrifying.
Yeah, the scariest thing you can ever imagine, just multiply it by 1,000. It's horrific, the feeling that it gives you.
Stephen but I had the feeling of fear that something was at the end of the bed and could hear a loud hum. Freaky. For excuse me.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, Kerry. A lot of people do say that they hear like a screeching or a pounding, or like a cross between a screech and a scream. It's extremely. It's an extremely powerful sound as well. It feels as though it's almost resonating through your body, through your ears and your head, like almost as though like your head wants to explode.
That's crazy. Higher Truth has said yes a couple of times. It brings on a panic attack.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Iwan has said, not paralysis, but I do get choked more often than I would like. Eee. That's
Yeah,
not
you're
nice.
right. You're right there, Pugs. You know, you get very blasé about situations that you come across in the paranormal where you can see things, hear things, sense things. You get those, that feeling of encroachment and the hair standing up on the back of your neck or your arms. You know, you just get so used to it. It's just like after a while, it's like, meh, it happens. I just always put it down to like EMF. I do if I'm in any
Mm,
like situation where there's a lot of electricity.
mm. Well, as we sort of gone on to people's experiences, I'm just going to bring it up on screen very, very briefly, and bring some more of what people's actually been saying. Excuse me. I know some of you have answered some of these questions. So, have you experienced shadow figures during sleep paralysis? How did it make you feel? And do you still experience that now? I don't think you've had an episode in a long time of sleep paralysis. You've not mentioned anything to me.
No, that's the thing. You can have like you can have 3 or 4 episodes a week, and then it will kind of like not happen, and then it
Mm,
always seems to like hit you at your lowest ebb, and it seems to be like it just seems to feel worse.
mm,
So that you go through your life not actually like knowing when the next episode is going to be. It always hits you at an unexpected time. But it
mm.
is, I cannot, say enough how frightening those experiences are. They are literally, the feeling is just horrific.
Eee. Right, Kerry's just added onto hers, saying that literally scared. It was in her face, not my. Now that literally scared me. It was my face, not my real face, but the spirit of me. That sounds a little bit more like lucid dreaming, sort of. Maybe it's a mix of both.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can be incorporated within
Mm,
sleep paralysis. I know like we're kind of like going off the topic of like shadow figures.
mm,
I was more interested in if people actually had experiences of shadow figures, or some people say that they're aliens or they're demonics, or whatever. But I've never actually had that. I've just had the feeling of encroachment, and that's
mhm,
bad enough. But to lie there in a paralyzed position,
mm.
looking at something across the room that's looking back at you, would be even more terrifying.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Mary's asked a good question here, and there's another good one from Christine as well. Do you find people with having what I call gifts have a lot of the same things or similar things happen to them? I think it really goes from person to person on what their own thing is. I suppose their own gift is.
Yeah.
I know with regards to myself and Glenn, we're empathic, and some of the stuff that I suppose you can say, pick up on for occasionally, especially when it's to do sort of with ourselves, it's very similar, or something else might go on it, but it might get a similar feeling from it. Maybe there is a connection to it. I really don't know. That would actually be something interesting for, maybe, I don't know, maybe the scientific community to invest further into,
Yeah,
as
they are.
their
Yeah,
side.
they are looking into stuff like that anyway, and I've been for many years. But
Mm,
they're not very forthcoming with any kind of like evidence to suggest what is happening,
mm,
because I think they're in the same situation as everybody else. They just don't know, or they just cannot gravitate towards having evidence that they can put out there that's factual,
mm,
although they do recognize that something is occurring.
mm. By the way, hello, Tara, darling. So now this is an interesting question. It really is, from Christine, Diary of Her Mind. Has anyone ever experienced paralysis with an entity while fully awake, getting visited, then paralyzed? It's happened to her a few times.
Is that with a shadow figure, or is that with a hat man?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because there is they are different to each other, or
Mm,
they are perceived to be different to each other. The shadow figures and the hat man.
mm,
You know, when you start getting into the nitty gritty of it all, and doing your research, you become very aware that the hat man is a different type of entity altogether.
mm. And Joanne, with regards to her sleep paralysis that she said, she's never seen a figure. She just hears her name being whispered in her ear. They don't say anything else, just my name over and over. Blah. That's enough to give anybody the creeps. It's true, though. It is. So pitch black, you lay in there, you're practically paralyzed. You can't do anything. And all you're hearing in your ear is just like, I'll use my name as a reference instead of anybody in chat. Be like, Sarah.
That's normally me.
I'll be freaking out. I'm not too bad when it comes down to like the bit of the weird and the wonderful, but my God, I would most likely, I'm not going to swear, but I would most likely pee my pants. Or if not, something else.
I'll say then you probably shit yourself.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy.
What did you see visions of, that diary? What visions did you see? Oh, you're shown visions. What was you shown visions of?
A crystalline all right. Let me just bring that up on the screen. Where is it? There it is. Oops. This is with several types of beings. I was visited by a crystalline being last week. I was petting my cat and felt them. I turned around and was paralyzed. Then all I could do was fall.
Oh, that's very strange.
Oh wow. Yeah, I've seen that film, Chris. It was spooky. Well, not spooky, but like
Yeah, the effects in that film was excellent.
it was pretty good. Yeah. Okay, we've got an add-on from Kerry's. Oh, so that's a bit of a dark one, Kerry. At the time, I was in a dark place in my head when I asked for a sign of the devil. This happened after my quest to contact someone or something. Oh, wow. That's dark, Kerry. Wow. Probably wasn't a very good thing to do, hun. Mary is saying that she's not had an episode in 5 years, so she's probably jinxing herself now.
Yeah, I think the last episode I had was about 6 months ago.
It was quite a long ago. Okay,
They don't get any better. Let's put it that way.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. Going back to the shadow figures one, Tara saw one in her kitchen a couple of weeks ago out the corner of her eye. Wow. Okay, one from Stephen here. I've had lucid dreams where I'm trying to wake up in the dream and something is stopping me from actually waking up, or difficulty to waking.
Hmm.
That's different.
That's kind of like the opposite way around, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. There's some really, really great things. Sandy Wolf has been scared to the point of paralyzed. I've not actually experienced that. That's crazy.
Yeah, within sleep paralysis, you are actually paralyzed. It's the functions that the body have, that protect you when you're asleep, to stop you from, basically getting up and walking around, and so the body shuts down your limbs, just basically shuts down your body, so you just stay in one position.
Yeah.
When you're asleep.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, so obviously that's the limbo you're in when you're having an episode of sleep paralysis. Your limbs, your body is actually shut them down purposely, so the body can rest, so you stay in one position. It's obviously self-protection that the body does. And then when you're having a bout of sleep paralysis, you're in that situation where you're paralyzed, and you are actually awake at the same time, so your eyes are open and you can look around the room, or that's all you can do. You literally cannot move, and you see, this is why I'm actually quite on the fence with what the medical profession state, because even when you're asleep, you can toss and turn and move about. You can lift a leg to get comfortable when you're asleep, or turn over, so the body isn't exactly paralyzed, so to speak. So when you're in an episode of sleep paralysis, it's not like that. You are literally like paralyzed. You cannot, even by thinking to like move your arm or whatever, or even to turn your head, you cannot do that. You are literally paralyzed.
It's crazy.
Like I say, the only way you can break out of it in that situation is to try and, like, it's impossible to lift an arm, or move a leg, or turn your head, or anything like that. You have to like concentrate on your little finger, or a finger, and move that, and then it's like the rest of the body just starts to move from there. It's like it flows from like your fingers up your arm into your entire body in like seconds. And then you just kind of like snap out of it.
That's just crazy. That really is crazy. Some of the stuff people experience, it's like, no, I've just put the comment up on the screen here. To carry on from Christine's daytime paralysis. And it's just got there that she lost consciousness and was shown visions. I'll go through with the other comments, but I wanted to put Christine sort of so they were in one after the other. And she was shown, oh my god, didn't see that bit. Shown a vision of her stepfather's death, and we were sitting at the Last Supper type of setting. And she's also, but every time I get visions of someone's death, it always happens. Some of the visions I have happened 2 to 3 years before their death occurs. So she did put something in, but just to mention on that, my grandmother was a precog, Christine. And with hers, it was to do with her friends at bingo. And every time she had a dream, it was literally 14 days later to the day that person would die, in exactly the way that my grandmother said. And in the end, some of her friends turned around and said to her, "For God's sake, Jessie, please don't tell us if you've had a dream about us. It's like, we don't want to know if it's going to happen." So Not that I've experienced something like that myself, but I can understand it because when my grandmother used to have it.
Just catching up on Caroline's comment there about narcolepsy. It's a brain disorder that leaves people not able to control when they will fall asleep. Right. Yeah, and that actually interferes with the REM sleep pattern, Caroline. And because the REM sleep pattern is disturbed, you're more likely to suffer episodes of sleep paralysis.
Yeah, but then you've also got the opposite, which is actually a medical condition. It's a genetic condition. You get to a certain age, it can be triggered, and you can't sleep ever again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Some of the other comments here.
I'll bring me t-shirts over, Caroline.
I was doing the ironing. Do you want to do mine, Caroline? Let's just see. Sandy has visions of, I think it was children, she was saying. I had visions as a child, hated them, always about bad things. Yeah, Christine, just out of respect for yourself, what you've written about your nephew, what happened to your nephew, I won't bring it up on screen. But I can imagine that that did actually quite get to you. I don't know if it's more to do with, I think this is more to do with the lucid dreaming than anything from Stephen. I can sense that I'm in the dream trying, and I can feel myself to wake up. It seems like an effort to waking up. Okay, yeah, I get what you mean, Stephen. Mary has something very similar to what Christine has with the visions. I have the same thing, but it just comes to me. Don't know why. I don't know things, but I can just tell tell people stuff and the self. But yes, I like the dream the future or have visions. Pugs, I've not had sleep paralysis, but have experienced being paralyzed in dreams, which was pretty scary. I've not heard that one before. Wow. Oh well, again, I'm going to get, that's it. Yeah, just excuse me, just with yours there, Higher Truth, with what you said. Yeah, it's like having these sort of pre-cult dreams that something happened to her when she was 10. That's a shame, something like that. But I'm just so really surprised this evening with the amount of people that have had very similar experiences on the shadow things, where some being very some on sort of the more positive side of things, some more on the negative side of things, some sort of middle of the road type things. It's just been really interesting. Cheeky.
Yeah, there is, in the past, the far distant past, the shadow figures were seen as, interdimensional beings. So coming on to God's first creation was the jinn.
Yeah.
So the jinn, they was born from, from fire, as man was born from clay.
Yeah.
So because because God's second creation, mankind, was more loved by God himself, the jinn took offense, and because they were an interdimensional being, they moved to like another dimension. um this isn't what I'm stating anywhere as facts. This is just what is believed, from agnostic texts from many thousands of years ago. So the jinn, because they was able to shift dimensionally, they were very much as humans were. Jinn had families, their offspring, the same as what humans did, mankind did. So they was kind of like not very happy about the entire situation, and they shifted dimension. And a lot of people say that these dark entities as shadow figures in that are, some people say that they could be the jinn, that are observing us from their dimension.
So I am listening to you. It's sort of, I've got him in one ear and I'm trying to type out a comment.
That's just folklore, and what's been passed down in cultures over the years, particularly like from religious sects, that kind of like follow the Quran, because the jinn are a big thing, within the Quran.
It is. But we won't say any more on that one because But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to move over to final thoughts, and sort of your guys' thoughts on what you thought for this evening's topic. Did you think that there would be so many people that would have very similar experiences as yourselves? Just final thoughts on this evening's subject. For me, I've been sort of some places I've been completely gobsmacked. I've been really surprised with some of the stuff people have been saying. Because where Hatman, whether it was, I think that was me more sort of half asleep than anything.
But you just don't know that. You don't know that, though, do you?
Well, again, yeah, it's a possibility, but that, excuse me, but then again, it might not have been.
If you're ever in any given situation and it is profound enough to, invoke, a really substantial, solid memory of that occasion, then you got to led to believe that it actually happened rather than that it was just a figment of your imagination. Especially like when you get a continuous feeling after the event. Because most people know the difference between something that's like, did that happen, didn't it? I don't know. Or, having a memory so vivid of something that occurred in the past.
Yeah. It's just really weird. Oh, bless you. I've got to bring some of these comments up. They're so sweet.
Zara does try, Sandy.
So Christine, oh bless her. I have commented on some of these. I always enjoy your streams. They're very organized, and it's a type of live stream people will go back and watch even without being live. Well done. Well, yeah, I had well over 100 playbacks on my last episode. I was really shocked.
100? It was over 400.
Well, no, I'm just mean on the playbacks.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Playbacks. Oh, there's higher truth. Make it comfortable for me to talk about my experiences. And Christine, Joanne, sorry. Oh, well, it's like I've just said to one of you in the chat. You know, when I'm doing my streams, it doesn't matter whether it's a stream like this, sort of more of a talk show type stream, whether it's like one of my spirit box sessions, an angel card reading, a general chit chat. Even might going as onto the opposite end of the scale, not paranormal whatsoever, which is my coffee and chats. What's important for me is that I want you guys to feel comfortable. That as if, like I said in the comment there in the chat, as if you're at the pub with your mates, or if you're sitting in one of your mates' front rooms and you're just all sitting down drinking wine or coffee or whatever it happens to be, and just being in that nice atmosphere where you can relax and you can talk openly about your experiences.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time it comes down to having some kind of like constructive stream, you know, where different topics within within one topic, you know, can be adhered to, and no one's over talking anybody. So what everybody's saying in the chat is adhered to, you know, with what either me or yourself have to say. You know, it's a proper conversation, you know, and a lot of times, you know, people's opinions nowadays are not viewed as an opinion. You know, people can say things in their opinion and people will argue and fall out. You know, I think what Zara tries to offer is a place where everybody can have their say and be listened to.
Take care, Sandy. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Good night, Sandy.
Well, Iwan has just said, so what is the Hat Man? It doesn't sound like he can physically harm you. I mean, what's the worst story about the Hat Man out there?
Well, I've never actually heard.
Story.
Yeah, I've never actually heard of any kind of like shadow figure or Hat Man that's, you know, where they've harmed anybody at all. As I say, most of them, or the vast majority of things that people have said about them, is they just seem to be in visitation, just watching, just listening and watching what is going on.
Oh, some of these comments, bless you guys. God, you're gonna make me blush. It's just good I don't have an ego. It really is. I don't know what to say, you guys. Really, it's. I'll let you into a little secret with regards to these type of streams. They're not done actually on a whim. I'm researching anything from 3 to 4 weeks to a few months in advance. What the sort of the Let's Talk ones. I've even almost got my season 2 almost completely mapped out for next year. Yeah, it just gives you a little bit of a background. The actual research that goes into just doing one of these streams, and just getting it, typing stuff up, choosing which is the best information, what's going to be the best points to be able to talk about. But I do love research. I love researching.
Yeah, these type of streams, they're never off the cuff. That, you know, they are extremely well thought out, and research to the hill, to
Like,
bring
oh, well,
everything into the forefront of what the topic is about. It's no
mm,
point in losing track and then talking about, how to bake cookies. You have to keep it on track,
true.
and everything that you've researched, it has to be presented in a way, so the audience can interact with it, and give their experiences on those separate issues within that one topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just gives you guys somewhere um to to discuss your experiences on any in particular topic that might happen to be doing. It also gives you guys, if you want to, if it's a subject that you really, really, really want to talk about, and that you've done a lot of research on it yourself, that if it's something that you would really love me to research and do a show on, just let me know, because I'll bring you up on the panel. Because it's not just about myself, or if Glenn's on panel, or if Joanne's on panel, bless her, love her to pieces, or if Kathy's up here. It's also an opportunity for you guys to say, right, Zara, I know a lot about this subject, I've researched it a lot. Are you interested in doing a let's talk on this in particular subject? If yes, I would love to be up on the panel. Just let me know, because it's not about me. It's not about the actual channel. These shows are for you. I just enjoy presenting them, giving what I find, giving what my own personal opinions are, but it's for you guys to connect and give your experiences or your thoughts or your own personal opinions on those subjects I just happen to be talking about on that in particular stream. Still wondering the purpose of the hat man. I have no idea, Joanne. I think we
Well,
would all love to find that one out.
yeah, this is it, you see, Joanne. We don't know,
We
but by people saying about their experiences, we kind of like learn a little bit more, of what they're about. Maybe not a lot, but it can all be put into its own little box and ticked, so it's been covered.
No, Kerry. Was just saying to Lou, I bet Sarah thinks, why does Kerry always have a bloody story? No, Kerry, dear. I always look forward to them, though. Oh, I know, hon. But it gives like I was just saying, if it's something that's happened to you, something that you've experienced, or that it's a story that you've been told that you want to share, it's just a good place to be able to do it. He said, you're just telling your reality. Yeah, just telling my reality. And what some people might not actually realize is that the umbrella of the word, what comes actually under paranormal, is so vast. Well, you saw with some of you that were here during the break, the amount of different words that actually is to do with the paranormal. There is so much, and it is so vast. It really is. It totally crazy. So
It's
there's
all
lots
part of a bigger picture.
from coming. Pardon, hun?
It's all part of a bigger picture.
It is. It is. Shoot. If you got a question, Spring, shoot. What's your question? but I enjoy these. They can be very stressful, and poor old Glenn gets the brunt of it, like today.
Oh, did I? I have bruises, guys. I have
He,
bruises to
he
prove
does.
the beatings.
He does. I tell you, if I was actually in the same room, he probably would have bruises. Oh dear. But if you don't have a little bit of a stress, you don't know how good it's going to be.
What was that link that was shared earlier?
It was the stream from Angie Beans.
Oh, right. Is that the one where it showed you the shadow figure?
Yeah. About 26
Right, okay.
minutes in. Right. Spring has asked, what happens if you see a dark figure and it looks like a reaper?
Run.
Yeah.
Don't think about it, Spring. Just run.
In all honesty, Spring, I don't know, but I would say exactly that. Well, not run, but or curse or something, turn around and walk in the opposite direction.
Yeah, Zara was doing a live stream a couple of years ago. The video is actually on my channel somewhere. Is it paranormal or something it's called?
Oh, the one with
Um,
the black mass in the corner.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And then it came across and it was like above you.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome, Spring. Look, I will always give my honest opinion, all it is my own personal opinion. When it comes to the paranormal, I how can I word this? I've got very high standards for myself of my own personal beliefs with regards to that. So it's yeah. Call it my own little religion, if you will. But no, I'm sort of I try to be very methodical. Yeah. Been talking too much German lately. I'm losing words. I try to do the correct research and to bring everybody that wants to watch a stream, wants to watch a video, one of the resource tool videos, just try to bring that research that I'm doing on and off, and passing it on to anybody that wants to watch it, or any of my tips, or where Glenn has been my mentor for the last years. Just passing on what I've been learning from him, as Glenn's actually worked in the paranormal for over 30 years. So there's over 35 years. So there's a wealth of information there to be passed on. And what has been passed on, I would expect, is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, a lot of people don't actually understand how involved I am in the paranormal. They just think I'm a YouTube channel, but
You
on
know.
a personal level, trust me, guys, I know some nice people. I know some top people. I know I've got some really good connections that I've made as friends over the years. I'm much more than the sum of my parts, but I never ever put it out there.
Exactly, Mary. Yeah, it's yes. I sit there and I pick his brain. It's like, give me ideas, tell me stuff. I'm like a sponge. I soak stuff up. And something completely irrelevant, that just may one day come in handy. Which has
Okay,
happened
Joanne.
quite a few times actually over the years. Just generally, just soaking up information. Oh dear.
she's a very good student. Let's put it that way. She soaks every detail up.
You take care, Spring. Thank you so much for coming, hun. I'll see you around.
Bye, Spring. Thank you for being here, hon.
Well, I've got a quite business background. So with what I tend to do in the paranormal, I take on, because anybody that works in an office or anything like that, you know that you have to think quite logical with a lot of stuff. And I just adopt that attitude with what I do in the paranormal. And you're doing laundry as well, are you, Christine? It's both of you. So I just try and think, you know, on a logical, but on a common sense level. And try, if something explained to me or is something I've researched, I don't fully understand it, I try and think of scenarios on so I would actually be able to understand what's actually being said. And one thing that I learned in the business world, and I actually did this. I had one of my old jobs that I had to actually write actual standard operating procedures for a company, which is, as far as I know, which is still used to this day, and it's quite a big company. And the one thing that I learned is the acronym KISS: Keep It Simple, Stupid. And I actually put that acronym into a lot of the things that I do. I do a lot of research, but I quite try to keep it as simple as I possibly can, but to give the most amount of information that I can.
Yeah, Chris, I've actually taught Zara to not be a lateral thinker. He's just made a comment there. Like,
Yeah,
you're good at looking at things from many angles. That's what I've taught Zara to do since I've known her.
I try to. Well, I've not had the most normal of upbringing, shall we say. So I grew up very quick at quite a young age. So I don't tend to see a lot of the world through rose-tinted glasses. I see them the way that I see things. I don't know if it's because of the way that I am as a person or because of the mental illness that I have. Oh, okay. But I tend to see things very sort of with my eyes open. It's all right now. I just looked up at the window and it looks like that it's actually been snowing a little bit. It's like, oh, okay. But you have to be open-minded. But you have to think very logical, and a lot of the paranormal does come down to logic and simple common sense at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Oh dear. But yeah, but I think what I'm probably going to do is say thank you to everybody that's either been watching, has been taken part in the chat this evening, or is they even watch this back afterwards. Maybe Kerry, that'll probably be in January. I'll end up doing that one. Yeah, I'll get you, Christine. Yeah, you have to. But I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, everybody, for all your interaction tonight. Please excuse cheeky. I've been fascinated with all your stories. I really have. And even I'm probably in the next couple of days going to sit down and actually watch this all back myself, so I can really see a lot of what your comments were. Todd, stranger, hello, my darling. You've been lurking.
Hi there, Todd. How are you, my friend?
Oh, bless you, hun. Don't be a stranger. Good
night, Stephen.
Yeah, but thank you so much, everyone. I really do enjoy it. And you know, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Doing these types of streams. But I love your stories. I love hearing your experiences. And I think it just gives us a chance, an opportunity to talk about our experiences in a comfortable place. So you're in a good environment where you wouldn't normally talk about those experiences. Let's just put it that way. So, Glenn, I don't know if you got anything you want to say before we go.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody that came to the stream tonight, and I think supporting Zara in what she does, I thank you all for that. So many thanks to everybody who came here, and the next stream is going to be very interesting.
Ooh.
Do you know which one it is, Zara? I can
What,
remember.
the next episode?
Yeah, I'm not going to mention it. I'm just saying.
Oh, it's either going to be 1 or 2. It depends which way around we do it.
Oh, okay.
But the next video is going to be a good one. So keep an eye out for that one, guys.
Yeah.
That one's in the works at the moment.
Thank you, Kathy, for being here.
It most definitely is a secret, Kerry.
Can't let too much go.
No. I don't know if you want to say anything else.
It's just been a great stream, Zara, and thank you very much.
A pleasure.
I think you presented it excellently.
Pleasure.
Kept it on topic all the way through.
One has to.
Very presentable.
Especially as one person up on panel likes to waffle.
Well, I've kept it to a minimum tonight.
You did, actually.
And I did say I would do that.
I know. Well, all I've got to say from me, really, is...
No, it's not dimensions, Chris.
No, it's not dimensions.
But that can be covered if it's something you would like to talk about, Chris.
It could be covered. You just never know. If you really want to, you can leave your guesses in the comments below after this is finished. We won't tell you. Wait a minute, just a...
Oh.
It's all right, it's just my sister. Let me just send her a quick message. Hang on.
Yeah, Zara's got some excellent streams on the way.
I have. Well, like I said, season 2 is almost practically, the agenda's almost there.
Yeah, and we're only halfway through season 1 at the moment.
Exactly. Right. Okay. That being said, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you all. Thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate it. Look after yourselves.
Can you say something in German?
Can I say something in German? I'll say something in German in a minute. Look after your mental health. Look after your physical health. And I'll just say something in German, just to keep Glenn happy. Ich wünsche euch alles Gute. Macht's gut. Seid brav. Und wir sehen uns irgendwo ans Internet. So we're saying that, as always, stay truthful, stay honest, and make sure every single day counts. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Oh, where is it? There it is. Bye.